Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Coach Glory, as you all know. Now, I have my guest here, Ivy Barreto, who is going to tell us a little bit about herself. She is a mother of three, and she's been married for 10 and a half years, but been together with her husband for 24 years altogether. Now, Ivy is also a coach like me. She's going to tell us a little bit about that once I hand over to her. So, Ivy, it's great to have you here this Sunday afternoon.
Thank you very much for having me. Yes,
Excellent. Yeah. Please go ahead and introduce yourself some more.
I myself I'm a coach, but before being a coach, I'm an architect, which merged into coaching, and now I work a lot with the refugees and families that are in distress. Um, I'm a mother of three, as you said, a believer, yes, and a good partner, I feel.
Oh, that is so good because these days it's difficult. It's rare to see relationships lasting for this long, you know, irreconcilable differences and things like that, and people go their separate ways. So I commend you, both of you. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Now let's go ahead. How did you meet? How did you both meet and all of that? Yeah.
Okay, we met in Portugal because that's where I mainly grew up. Met in Portugal, and then that was around high school. So, what happens is when you meet each other, you don't know what is a relationship. You go in, you dive in, and by the time you know it, there's a lot of things that happens, and being brought up in a very rigid family, it doesn't prepare you for that kind of aspect in life, kind of family they prepare to deal with this kind of stuff. So I went into a relationship very early, so 19, and which, led into a lot of altercations. But today is my father of my children, and he has a good outcome, but with a lot of ups and downs, like any relationship.
Yes, yes. Like you said, relationships are usually you experience ups and downs in relationships, and it's now depends on both of you, to see how you can compromise. Now we have, as a relationship coach, I encounter lots of different relationships out there, and some give up immediately. So what would you say is the key to success in relationship and marriage?
You need a lot of communication. You need to
Communication.
understand, you need a lot of communication, trust, respect, understanding one another, supporting one another, because when I say communication, you need to have the aspect of actually listening, because something is you dialoguing, but having an understanding about the listening at that particular moment, what that particular partner needs,
Yeah.
is sometimes fails in relationships because one person will be speaking, but they don't actually listen properly what the other person needs and the emotional needs at the particular point that they are while they're communicating. And trust factor is something that is necessary in a
Yeah.
relationship, but when there's no trust, there is nothing because there's no
Mm-hmm.
foundation. And respect is understanding the mutual respect, because in my own case, we came from different backgrounds, different
Okay.
countries, different languages,
Oh, wow.
different, everything was different. So that's is quite a cultural shock, as I can
Mm.
say.
Mm.
And understanding one another where everybody is at, because everybody has their own emotional baggage coming into a relationship.
Exactly.
And yeah, and having that critical point that where they came and found each other in the middle, so
Yeah.
they can be able to have a relationship. So it took us a while to get to that point, and
Mm.
having support from one another and for all the people around us,
Yeah.
while we're having that relationship, but still maintaining the boundary.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned some key points, communication, respecting each other's boundaries. And you also said that you both come from different backgrounds and trying to understand each other, and it's taking a while. You know, some people, while they are having all those obstacles, they say, this is not working, they give up, you know, and they don't end up seeing the fruits of their labor, you know, how they started and everything. Once they give up, that's it. They go to someone else and they find that they have to learn and relearn again, you know, try to understand that same person, and they have these same issues. So if you are watching this, I hope you are learning. You may be single or married. Just know that marriage is not a bed of roses. If anyone has told you, oh, marriage is heaven and everything, don't be deceived. It is not a bed of roses. So go in with a mindset that is prepared to deal with whatever comes your way. You know. So now we are going to the bit of challenges. You know, some people, like we said, it's not a bed of roses, but some people make it look as if, oh, it's, especially with social media, they are posting all these nice, lovely things, and then behind closed doors, they may not even be talking to each other. But on social media, they are all lovey-dovey. So what are the challenges? What challenges? Only share what you know you are happy to share, challenges you've encountered, and how you've had to overcome these challenges today.
Okay, we had to strip down because when everything was happening in our relationship, you know, from the start, you know, analyzing from the beginning till now, we had to strip everything down to the basics and then identify what was the challenges in each stage that we were at the time for us to get to the point that we are today, and come up with strategies and solutions and how to go about, because not only we're individuals, but we have children, and then we have people around us that is family, without interrupting our upbringing, what the way we want to our family to be brought up. And seeing the way as well to growing together, you know, with those challenges and learning from those mistakes, because there was a lot of mistakes. Before you can get to the point that you are, you need to fail in another those aspects. And when you fail, you need to be able to harvest those emotions and those critical points, and knowing that that is what we're here for. Because sometimes people don't understand what is the essence of us being here in the world, and then the essence of what we wanted to be in a relationship for. Because they think that love is something that is supposed to be, you know, magical. Yes, it is magical.
Fell into it. Something you fall into.
But there is stages of love, and depending on the age, there is stages.
So true. I agree. Especially like when you start very young, you know, when you are so young, you think, you know, it's all fairies, magical and everything, you know, happily ever after. And then when these issues start coming, I'll be like, I didn't sign up for this. Where is this coming from? You know? So I want people, that is why I became a relationship and marriage coach. Because after I did my certification, I felt there were so many areas I could have, you know, specialized in. But I discovered that, you know, marriage, nobody prepares you for this. There's no school that prepares you for this. They give you your certificate and they say, you are now qualified. Everything else in life, you have to be taught first. You have to go to school for maybe 4 years before you get your certificate. But marriage, they give you your certificate first before you start learning. And then you learn all the mistakes. So I have been married for about 24 years. And I felt, do you know what? The younger ones coming, they need somebody to just let them know how this thing really is, you know? So that's why I decided to become a relationship and marriage coach. So I put things out there, you know, people watch and they say, oh, they tell me what they've learned from it. And hopefully they don't make those mistakes, you know, that people like you and I have made. And once they know, they say, oh, okay, I heard Coach Glory say this, you know, okay, I'm not going to do that. I can do things better. So what way, you've been married for so many years, what's that one thing that you feel has helped you overcome lots of conflicts, that you know that if there's a conflict today, this is the thing you would do to end that conflict?
Knowing the time to dialogue, to have a respectful communication. Because yes, there is a conflict, but if you don't know the timing is essential,
Yeah.
and understanding the person's emotional temperature, as I would
Yeah.
say.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if the person is still in the state of anger and
Mm-hmm.
you come to have a dialogue,
Mm-hmm.
things can erupt in different
Yes.
ways, as have happened in the past. Like, for example, I came from the background of domestic violence because I wanted to convey my own time, wanted to
Mm-hmm.
say what I wanted to say at the time, addressing things in a very not unconventional way.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can, being from different cultures, you can have that cultural shock.
Yeah.
So understanding, being respectful in terms of communication is essential.
Mm-hmm.
Be, very active in listening because it's
Yeah.
always good to be listening at all the time, listening, even the
Mm.
silent listening, because the person may not be communicate, not be verbal, but just the body language can
Yep.
tell you and the sensations, will tell you that something is off. And then
Yes.
the intuition is something. The
Yes.
women intuition can never get you wrong. And compromise in the negotiation, it's always good to compromise because being from different places, different paces in life,
Mm.
different cultures, beliefs, so
Yeah.
we always have to gauge that to compromisation or in terms of negotiating. And in terms of strategies that we came up with in terms of conflict resolutions is knowing when to, in our household, we always have these meetings. We all have irregular meetings every
Oh,
month
that's good.
where
That's so good.
things and where we check up on each other, see what is the situation, where each other at, and we do it like a game, you know,
Mm.
and we convey the emotions, even the most painful part, let it be by written. And then we, as well, when the people, get to the point that everybody is comfortable, then we can have a dialogue actually within those
Wow.
cards to understand what was happening. And then, having that sense of gratitude among ourselves for being all together and, apologizing because there's nothing like, you can never be so big to
Mm-hmm.
forgiving one another and
Oh,
starting afresh
yeah.
and
That's
learning
true.
because the kids, they teach us so much about ourselves that we don't even know. And
Mm.
that is one of my key elements in terms of me coming back into my relationship. Because yes, I was married all those years, but in those years there was as well separations involved. I was separated twice in the same marriage
Marriage.
and in the same relationship because I was married for 10 years, but I'm in a relationship for 24. So I didn't get into this conventional way. It was unconventional. So I
Mm.
already had my kids before I got married.
Okay. Okay. And to the same person.
And to the same person.
Wow, that is amazing. Amazing story. And I hope everyone who watches this learns from this. Honestly, out there, marriage is not a bed of roses. At the same time, because we are two individuals, everybody, we all have our needs. We have different ways of regulating our emotions. So, like Ivy has said, communication is key. And you can see the way they overcome their conflicts. They have regular meetings. They check on each other. How are you doing? And you are free to express yourself without fear. And the other person also expresses themselves. And then if there's need to apologize, they apologize. You see, no one is too big to apologize. You apologize and you move on again. In fact, I'm taking that away into I need to start practicing that too. Have regular, sometimes you teach these things, you get so busy and you sometimes forget, you can neglect some parts, that part of, checking on each other regularly and knowing the emotional temperature, knowing the right time to bring up things. You don't just bring things up and expect them to respond, in the way you'd like. Because whatever you say, they might just erupt and say, can't you see I'm busy? Can't you see? Why are you coming to me now? So it's important, really important. Excellent. Now we have spoken about the challenges. Now let's talk about sweet memories. What memory, what beautiful memories can you just share that whenever you think about it, like, wow, I'm grateful, I'm thankful for this relationship because I'm who I am today. If not for this relationship, I wouldn't be here. So what memories?
There's so many memories, but the one that really struck me is the one when I regained my family, because not everybody knows about that aspect of my life,
Mm,
because I was very busy professionally. And then in that business and trying to escalate to the next level of career, I
mm,
forgot my family and my husband.
mm.
So what happened is my home imploded.
Okay.
And when I say imploded, is because my kids were taken into foster care system. So it took me
Oh,
5 years to regain my children. So it was a
wow.
lot of learning and a lot of painful moments. But those painful moments turned out into memorable moments because we had to go back to basics and actually understand what makes each other tick and
Mm,
how each other contributes to each other's life,
mm-hmm.
and understanding that we come from separate backgrounds and
Yeah.
we have something in common now, and even understanding that we both were Africans, but were brought up in Europe and born and raised in Europe, and still having children here delivered in Europe, being
Mm,
born. So there's different dynamics. So there was that moment that was given to us, our children, instead of losing them till they're 18, was the biggest moment was regaining them. It
yes.
gave me a sense of beginning and sense of beginning and cherishing
Wow.
the being a mother and a
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah. Oh, I celebrate you right now. That is awesome. Wow. Wow. That is a big deal. I can't even begin to imagine how you would have felt those years, having your children take, oh my Lord. I'm so thankful to God that made it possible to bring you all back together. You know, I'm thankful to God that He was able to get your children out of foster care back to their rightful place. Because being in the system does a lot of harm to the emotions of people, children especially, even adults. So I'm really grateful to God. That's a great memory. Thanks for sharing that. As a mother, when you think about that, it brings you joy that, and you ever be grateful and thankful. Lord, I thank you for making this possible. I'm really happy. Okay. Let's go to you now. As couples, we are one, right? And you've already said, even though you're Africans, you have different upbringings, and you have children born here. How do you think people can maintain their individuality, even though they are married, and still being one in a marriage without losing themselves?
I think it's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing personal growth. It's ongoing because you need to think about the importance of the dynamics of that relationship that we're living in.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing is you being in a relationship, another thing is you being in a relationship with yourself,
Yeah.
with others, and then the other people that is outside your boundary.
Mm-hmm.
So it is necessary in that aspect. Practicing always a sense of nurturing in our communication and trust. We do that in a regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
even going out ourselves. That we have always in a month we go out on our own. I myself I go out on my own,
Mm-hmm.
go out with the partner, and then go out with the kids. And then we have one day that is for the whole entire family and the
Family.
rest of the people.
Mm.
So there's 4 times in a month we go out, but it's for separate occasions.
Yeah.
And it's essential for us to retain our individuality in terms of practicing sports or whatever makes our sense
Yeah.
of interest, and keeping that time management within all ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
respecting each other's boundaries. So we do that a lot in that aspect. So and that's sometimes we always have to gauge the impacts of what
Mm.
happens in our relationship, because one thing is we being busy doing all the things we're doing, but it's always good to come back, revisit, see where we're lacking, and have those meaningful conversations, even one-to-one, because we do that on a regular basis as well. Myself, as a mother, it's important for me to understand one-to-one what's happening with each person, because I have 3 kids, and they are in 3 different ages, and then they are terrible teens and preteens, as they say, and the understanding as well the partner that I am in, of all the ins and outs that we have gone through. It is important for us to have these regular check-ins.
Wow, that is beautiful. What I can hear you say there is that word intentional. Intentionality. You all intentionally take action. You check, you make sure, okay, though I'm married, I'm not losing myself in this marriage. I'm still going to do what I like, take myself out, enjoy myself as an individual. Now, separate day, go out with my husband, enjoy each other, and then you go out as a family. So that way you're all fulfilled. Nobody's having that resentment. I've lost myself. I don't even know who I am anymore in this marriage. I'm just here. You don't have that going on, because a lot of women go through that. They've lost themselves and they feel all their interests, everything they ever dreamt of as a little girl, they can put in a back burner and feel they just only have to help their husband and the children get fulfillment, but they've forgotten about their own desires, their own dreams. They've forgotten that God has given each and every one of us a purpose. So as a result, they have resentment deep down within them. So if you are watching this, you are an individual. You enjoying yourself doesn't mean you are less of a woman or less of a wife. So you've heard it all today from our guest, Ivy, and I've learned a lot as well. So our last question, I'm sure you all want to know where you can find Ivy. So Ivy, tell us where people can find you on social media and all of that.
Yeah, I have a website called www.hugscoaching.com. So you can find me there, or you can, email me at hello@hugscoaching.com. And in Facebook handle, I have that. And you can find me as well on LinkedIn as well. If you Google the same Hugs Coaching, and then you find me, or even my name, Ivy Barreto, you find me there. Get in touch, and we see what we can do.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It's been amazing. I've really enjoyed having you on today. I've known Ivy for years now. How many years? It's been a while. We did our coaching, went to coaching training. We did all these things. We met there and we both went our separate ways, did our special, everybody specialized in what they want to do and all of that. So we haven't really come together to do anything before. So I'm glad we've had this opportunity today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. So enjoy, and please share this with your friends and family. We'd really appreciate that. See you next week by 4 p.m. Take care. God bless. Bye.